Hey guys, this episode is being brought to you by Food and Beverage Atlantic.
Just so you guys know, Food and Beverage Atlantic are the group that helped the maritime provinces get a voice throughout Canada. So that's New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and Newfoundland. Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
I'll just have to figure out how to drop Kenny from this call, and then we'll be good.
I could probably do it all by myself without even trying.
David, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Phil.
Yeah,
Thanks for
how
having
are
me.
you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's a nice hot day here in Halifax.
Nice.
Oh, you're on the
Nice.
other side.
Yeah, completely other side. Yeah, you guys are on the West Coast.
I am.
Kenny is. I'm in the middle, sorta. I'm in the center of the universe, but more really like Ontario. So I'm in Toronto.
So by the tone of that, you understand that was Toronto area, Ontario, like center of the world, right?
Listen,
got that.
you were gonna make fun of me anyway, so I just got there ahead of you. So
It's all good, man.
Yeah. It's really nice to meet you. We were looking at some of your stuff. It's kind of exciting to get you on to talk about this stuff. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff for sure. And yeah, I appreciate you reaching out. And yeah, it's always nice to share our story and what we're doing, because it's definitely really exciting stuff.
We like it because we don't get a lot of Atlantic. I mean, it's funny because the podcast sometimes really focuses so much around BC because we do a lot of natural stuff, and BC seems to be where a lot of stuff either starts or goes. Lots of stuff from Ontario, but we're trying to do a lot more from Maritimes and even center of country. We got a lot of cool stories in our country. So
yeah, well, it's just the population's so low here. It's hard to, not many businesses are popping up. And in order to have a business here, you really have to export and go outside the province. Like there's a lot of our advisors, like they say, you can start a business in Nova Scotia, but you got to get outside the province to make something out of it.
Yeah. Well, you need the population for sure to be buying it. I think for us, we just think, Canadians, as Canadians, we put together some really cool businesses, and then we spend a lot of time watching, consuming, American content or American inventions. So this podcast, even for us, is kind of our way of making sure that Canadians know about Canadians, right? Like, you don't have to buy something that comes in over the border because we have stuff in the country that's, positively amazing, right? So,
yeah, like a lot of, tech businesses and like the fintech and, oceanography related come out of like our region, but not a lot of like food technology or food production. So yeah, when we first started, we were kind of like, pioneers in a way, but I know times are changing, and you have PEI, a lot of companies coming out of PEI and the maritime. So that's good news for us.
It's great news. It's just tough, right? You don't, there's, how many people in the Maritime? Like about 2 million people kind of thing over the 4 provinces. Right. You know what I mean? So it's not, and you're kind of stuck, right? It's you're attached to Quebec, but it's nothing's easy, right? It's not easy to get there, even for me to get there. There's no one way to get there. Like it's,
Yeah, and when we first started, like we never even got into retail in the first, the early days. Like we just did B2B because we thought the region that we're in, being at a huge port like Halifax, we would be able to export to across to Europe and across the oceans, like, and just do our ingredients B2B, which we're still doing as well. But that's just how we got into it. We just sold our bulk hemp ingredients to other brands because retail is such a, you know how it is. It requires a lot of attention.
Tell us what retail is.
It's a crazy game. It's a crazy game. So let's do this. So for listeners, we have David Giffin on. He is the founder of Earthli Foods. We're going to hear from him and his story. We got connected through Dwayne and the Food and Beverage Atlantic folks, who were most kind to put us in contact with David. So we're excited to do this. So for David, the next kind of like 45 minutes is yours. We'd love to hear your story. Anything you want to tell us, you can tell us about Earthli, but we're always super curious to hear about how you got to how you got to Earthli, right? Because we hear some pretty unique left turns. So we're always curious what goes through your mind and what makes you think about kind of hemp and the hemp powered products that you have now. So I'm going to stop talking. Mr. David Giffin, thank you for joining us, and we're excited to learn more about you and about this amazing brand you're building.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, and I'm just thrilled to share our story. And I'm always excited to talk about how we started, because it is really a crazy journey. I mean, it all started about like 2017 is probably the big year where things really came together for me in the business. I always knew I wanted a hemp business. I was just so passionate about the plant and all the industrial applications of it. And I was just finishing up my degree at Dalhousie University here in Nova Scotia, and I was doing chemical engineering. And I was kind of at that stage in my life where I wanted, it was time to get a career and time to, start applying for jobs. It was my last semester, and I never, I knew that I didn't really want to work for anybody. I applied for jobs, and I got some job offers, but deep down I knew that I wanted to start my own thing, carve my own path. And I was young at the time, and no liabilities, and no wife, no kids. So I said, this is definitely the time to do it. To start my own company is right fresh out of the gate. And I knew it had to be hemp related, just because in 2016 there were regulations that were made in Canada that allowed producers and growers to more easily get an industrial hemp license. And that would allow them, because before 2016, there was, it was essentially like growing marijuana. You had to do like a full process to get a license to even grow the stuff. And also you had to get a license to even touch the raw material to make value-added products. So 2016, all that changed, where it was just, it took a couple months to apply for an industrial hemp license. And I did that while I was in school, just kind of on the side, go through all the red tape to get set up. And then my friend at the time, still business partners, Jack, his name's Jack, and my brother Jordan, he was applying to medical school, and he had like a year, a window of about a year where he could, help out for in the company, because he wasn't really doing anything before starting his semester. So we all got together and realized it was, it's a burgeoning industry for the food. Everybody eats. So if you're going to start a business, start it in the food business, and also even more specifically the health food business and the health food industry. Like it's, at that time there were a lot of these trends with plant proteins and omega-3, and they're still growing, as you know. So we just ran in the direction of hemp supplements and hemp-based products. So
why hemp though? Not for anything.
Yeah.
I'm still curious. Like you could have picked pea protein. You could have picked I alfalfa. I could have picked a million things. Like, what was the fascination with hemp and hemp-based products?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that came together for it to, to kind of land on hemp. So I was also training for an Ironman triathlon to run for the summer of 2017, and I was cutting back on my meat intake. I watched the documentaries of all the the dirty slaughterhouses, and I was kind of thinking, I want to be a little more clean. So I did my research, and the thing that popped up was hemp protein. So the first time I tried hemp protein was also in 2017. I got it from the bulk barn,
right?
And there were only like select, I believe you talked to Mike Fata too. Like, he was really the pioneer. Like, it was Manitoba Harvest, and then a couple bulk barns you might be able to find some hemp in the corner where you could kind of scoop away. So I did that. I got like a pound of it. I found it at a bulk barn. I started using it. Started trying it with my training, and I really noticed a change in my energy levels, and I had it daily, and it was just that's really how I got most of my protein. And like, part of my research too, when I was doing all the research on the ultimate proteins, like I found that there's this specific protein in the hemp that's like a lock and key method with the human blood, like called agustin. So you essentially, like, if you consume like a pea protein, not all of it gets absorbed, and you might have troubles with digestion and gas. But with hemp, like, the protein is very compatible with the human body, and you get that immediate absorption, and also it's very bioavailable. So I read all that, and I figured I might as well try it. Like, I really like hemp, with all the different applications, like concrete and textiles. And all the other commercial applications. So I said, I'm an advocate for hemp. Might as well try it and see what it's all about. And I actually noticed the difference, and I used it every day with my training. And then eventually we set up and started producing the stuff. And it was in a way like, they say don't get high on your own supply, but every day I was eating, our oil, like the oil for the
that's a different hemp.
Exactly, and that's a whole other story. Is the confusion that causes people when you say you have a business. But yeah, so I was we were producing the hemp products, just bulk, selling them to businesses. Like, that's how we started. There was a company in New York that put in a large purchase order, and we never even had at this time we never even had all the machinery to produce and all the permits set up to produce the hemp products. So what we did is we used that money from the purchase order to install the infrastructure and actually be able to produce the order. And that's sort of what was like the spring into this world, and we hit the ground running from there. So
the supply of hemp in does it grow in, like, is there hemp supply in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, or are you buying from the prairies? Or
right, so we have farmers that we contract out in PEI.
Okay.
So like over the first initial years, we had farmers come and go that were interested in trying hemp out as a rotational crop on their fields, and we partnered with them, and we were able to have like a good amount of supply for our orders. And then we found a good group of farmers that were scattered all over the island of PEI, and we have a long-term partnership with them to supply all of our hemp seed. And so that's sort of how we got started. And then we just did deals with countries like Australia for selling the hemp seed oil, which is used in like the omega-3 supplement space. Right. There's like a plant-based omega-3.
But where are you getting all this? So hang on, David. So like you get a PO for bulk hemp. You figure, well, shit, we can't do this, so logically we should go buy some equipment so we could fulfill a PO, which there's no logic to that, but I get it, which is kind of cool. But you go do that, and then you've got like, where are you getting the hemp? Like, where are you getting all this shit? Like, you're doing the hemp oil in your place too? Like, are you doing?
Right. So
what are you doing?
Yeah. So I mean, we're just being like at this time in the early days, we're just being very resourceful. So
it sounds like it.
So we joined this organization called the Canada Hemp Trade Alliance, and like it was in 2017 as well. I went to this conference in Ottawa that had all the hemp farmers went to it all over Canada, and
right.
we I was able to talk to some of these growers that had some land that just grew hemp for the sake of it, kind of thing, and they had some seed left over that was pretty good quality. So I did some sniffing around, and I expanded my network. I got these contacts, and I was able to get them to send me samples, and I took the best samples, and then I called them. I said, we'll take all of your seed and we'll import it to our facility, and then we just kind of produced from there. And we did that method for like the first 2 years until we actually we were able to put money down for contracts and that type of thing. So we were working on a shoelace for the first couple of years, just purchasing direct purchases of farmers that grew hemp as like a random rotation, and kind of wanted to get into it, wanted to do it as a test plot. And when they finished at the end of the season, they had like an actual like good product and a good yield.
So you were buying and selling seed, or like were you actually bringing seed in and either milling it, or like what were you exactly doing? Like, you just buying it and packaging it?
Yeah, so we bought the raw seed. So the farmers, they dried it, they cleaned it, and then we processed it. Like, we extracted the oil out of it by cold pressing, and then we further filtered the oil to human grade standard, and that's what we sold to other businesses.
And you're doing this on your own, or you got a co-packer or someone doing this for you?
We're doing this all in-house in our facility in Nova Scotia.
I find it seriously, not for anything. It's that, I don't know. I don't know what Phil's thinking. It feels like there's quantum leaps in how you do it, right? Because typically, like if you wanted to, like, let's say you're hemp happy and you're all excited about it because it is a complete protein. It's a very good protein, very good source of protein, right? And the body does get it, so it's all good. But I would say, okay, you bring seeds in, you put them in bags, 50-kilo bags sent to Australia, 500-gram bags go to the farmer market or whatever, right? But to jump right into, milling it and then oil extraction is not like, just, you need equipment, right? You gotta, it doesn't just, you don't just get up in the morning, go out and grind it and.
Well, no, David does. I don't understand what, no, it's kind of amazing actually. Yeah. But I am with Kenny. Like, I guess the thing, like I get the shoestring thing, you're like totally cash about it, but I actually think it's kind of amazing what you're doing and how you do it.
Stuff,
but how do you like, are you, as you're putting this together, are you kind of looking and seeing that this is where we go next? So like, are you doing the research, or like, how do you even know how to do all this stuff?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, part of my, so like when I graduated my chemical engineering, I know that a lot of like my colleagues, they got jobs doing something they didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. I fully wanted to, utilize my skills and just hit the ground running and start, like, actually set up, manufacturing and extraction. And my business partner, Jack, was totally on board with this as well. So we just knew we always, like, I read a book, like, at that time. It said, if you own manufacturing and you own the supply chain. So I knew that we had to have our own manufacturing. We couldn't rely on a co-packer or a co-manufacturer at the time. So we knocked on a lot of doors for financing and that kind of thing. But no one would really fund a business that had, no revenue. You need financial statements and all that type of thing. So we just leveraged purchase orders. We used our silver tongues and with we just started it really with the laptop and a cell phone by calling companies, getting purchase orders, and then using that as leverage to buy the equipment. And then we were able to like demonstrate revenue, and we did end up getting some financing from the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, ACOA, which they were very helpful with like providing a portion of the machinery. But we had to first demonstrate like revenue by purchase order. So it was kind of that a big time put the cart before the horse in that regard. But like I said, I knew like in order to take a risk, I knew this was the period of my life to do because very little liabilities and
smart.
I only got one shot at it, so you might as well go both feet in.
It's just still, I mean, I'm sure if you look back at it now, like, I mean, because we're sitting at this end, him and I, and like we're going backwards, you know, not for anything. A PO comes in, you know, I mean, most people listen to this show are CPG people, you know, retailers, brands. You don't have an infinite amount of time to say, listen, hey, you know what? Here's a PO for 20 grand. When you get a chance, like, you know, do your thing. You can fill it. Just let me know ahead of time. So nobody does that. You got 2 weeks. So you're sitting there thinking, okay, we got no money. Hey, we got a PO though. Fuck, you know what we should do? We should go buy equipment so we can do this PO.
Right.
Like, seriously, sit back now. Never mind you, because I don't think you're hearing what we're hearing. I'm going, so 7 years later, that makes sense to you, right? Like you're thinking, shit, I got a PO. I don't have any equipment. Hey, I'll use this money. I'll go buy equipment so that I can fulfill the PO.
Yeah, it's totally backwards, and yeah, it's totally backwards. And it just at the time, there was no other way to get where we wanted to go without doing that method. And of course, now we operate a different way, but like it's just being resourceful and persistent just to get where you need to go. And yeah, also I give a lot of credit to my business partner Jack, because you know to convince a company to, you know, a first time customer to put 100% of the cost
Seriously,
down.
who does that?
It takes quite a silver tongue. And Jack, he's a lawyer, and he quit his job to come work with me. And he has the real sweet talk about him, and he's able to get these down payments. And yeah, so like,
wow,
it's definitely, I give a lot of credit to Jack. He has the same vision as I do. He's the ultimate co-founder. He's the exact person you want to get in business with. So if you have two people aligned like that, I think it does wonders.
I mean, I don't know what Phil's thinking, but I'm still like amazed at that. That's not a silver tongue. That's like platinum. Like, I mean, you're in a whole different league. Like that. Seriously, that's.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
We don't have any revenue. We don't have any machinery. But we'd like you to pay for the order up front, because, you know, we're going to go buy some equipment. So, you know, we could fill this PO for you. But basically, you're going to fund the whole process. Right. That's really not in the world of normal. Super cool. Super cool.
Yeah, it's definitely not normal. And but yeah, like we're now in normal operations now with dealing with, you know, traditional fulfillment. And so that we did that for about 2 years. Like we just had a business just selling to different companies, just bulk hemp ingredients, hemp protein, hemp oil, hemp hearts, just a typical thing. And then, you know, I realized that we're just, you know, in the bulk ingredient game, like the whole other, you know, addressable market that you can do with retail. So we tinkered around with different ideas for a retail brand. We even looked at like animal feed kind of, or the horse industry, or dog food, that kind of thing. And like at the time, the hemp protein was more or less a byproduct, because I'm not sure how familiar you are with like hemp production, but like you start with the seed, and then you extract the oil, and then you have the protein. So like if you're dealing with like a traditional like cost of goods sold, like you have two two products, but one input. So you have to really sell both to maximize your margin. So at the time we were selling a lot of oil. We had a protein powder, stockpiled, and it was great protein. And I mean, we had a lot of orders for it, but we still had more orders for the oil. So we figured it'd be a good idea to have a retail brand that was in the protein, protein world. So I was one that enjoyed hemp protein then, and I realized, there must be other people like me that, who could also purchase this. I would purchase this, so why not someone else? So,
and that's kind of like 2020, 2021-ish.
Yeah, this is the end of 2019.
Okay.
So just before COVID, and again, we're talking about a whole different world. Now we've gone from, oil extraction and that processing and packaging now into a different set of processing and packaging.
Yeah, it's whole other world. So
whole different world, whole set of new equipment, yada yada yada. Right, the whole
all the equipment, all for the general production. That's all in place for just bulk production. And we realized, so that's steady. It's doing its own thing. And then we realized we wanted to, get into this TPG space, and we had no idea what was involved at the time. We just knew that there was you might get better margins. The price point's a little better. But yeah,
maybe not so much. Yeah. But so when you I mean, it's got to be like a whole new world, right? Because when you're selling B2B, it's bulk. You don't. There's not a ton of branding you got to do. Like there's
packaging's a little easier.
There. Yeah, like there's a chunk of things there. Like did you kind of? I think I know the answer, or I feel like I've just met you. Like literally, I've known you for 30 minutes now, but I feel like I know what your answer is going to be. But did you look at this industry and kind of wonder, like, was there a moment where you kind of went, this is craziness, we should just go back to what we were doing? Or was this all right, like, this is what we got to do, so let's just go do it?
Right. It was mixed emotions. Like part of me, I like the kind of the uncertainty of it, and like just seeing other brands kind of like that were like 10 years ahead of us that went through the journey, like knowing that it's possible. So like you obviously get those feelings of let's return to what we know best, what we're doing currently, and not take the risk. But then I saw the proof in the pudding from similar health brands. So realizing that the model's possible kind of was inspirational. And and
you've got a couple of monsters out there. I mean, like Manitoba Harvest is.
Manitoba Harvest at that point is already huge and sold at least once.
And then Mike, right? like Mike by himself is a bit of a juggernaut, and he was out there 2019, 2020 kind of talking a lot. So that would definitely give you. But that's kind of cool. Okay, so you jump into this thing, and then so what do you start with? Like, do you start with, because you've got a lot of products now, right?
Did you start with like the hemp seeds first and just package those, or did you go right into the production of protein, or where did you play?
Yeah, well, we just started. Yeah, we started with like the most simple product. It was the byproduct of our like pressed meal. It was just milled to a fine powder to produce a hot, like it had a 33% protein content and a high fiber content. So we just build it to produce a powder. We called it protein and fiber powder. And we didn't, the brand wasn't even called Earthli at the time. It was called Vegan Superfoods. And we, I think we saw, a couple of companies that had Latin words in their title. So, my business partner, Jack, he pulled open the Latin dictionary, and he saw the word for power and strength, and it was VIS. So that's what we called it. for the first few months, and we got running with that, and just sold into our local retail chain in Halifax. We are a brand, but a lot of, like, in terms of the product, a lot of the feedback, and we always knew we wanted to be a nationally distributed brand, and even international. We knew that with this branding at the time, it was a good way to get started, but in terms of, like, actually, the appeal of a big brand, like, it didn't have that same punch as Earthli does. So that's when we got into the whole rebrand and the rename. We invested some money. We worked with a professional marketer.
When was that?
This would have been, like, right before the pandemic hit. So
okay,
we had everything. We got all this done. We did, like, all this focus testing on what we should name our products, what we should, how many products we should launch with, because we had this one protein and fiber powder that was the original product, and we were going to transfer it to a new brand, and we didn't know if we were going to make a splash and launch a number of products, or just kind of continue the journey with the single product but under a new brand. So, it took a number of months to decide to just hit the ground running and launch with. It was 4 products that we launched with. And that was, like, when the Earthli brand was revealed. And the products, it was that same product we continued using. We still call it plant protein and fiber. And then we have, like, a higher concentration single ingredient hemp protein called plant protein. And then we had the hemp hearts and also a chocolate flavored protein powder. And we did some focus testing too on what to name it. So we weren't sure if we would say hemp protein versus plant protein, because people, had the question of it, if it was marijuana. We realized that it was best to name it plant protein. So that's why you see plant protein powder on the label there. But
do you? I mean, so many questions, but we're on it.
I'm online all over the place too.
Do you find, like, so, because I find that is, even though here we've started to open it up, I still feel like hemp and hemp products has such a because you've gone that way on your marketing, you guys probably have a sense of that, but I feel like hemp hasn't taken all of its illegal roots or any of the
yeah.
Like, I feel like people just don't understand.
I think they don't understand it, and whether it's because of the family it comes from, or there's just not a great understanding en masse about plant protein. Like, I'm not too sure which one it is. I'm not too sure if it's the hemp marijuana side, or if it's just a plant protein versus a meat. Like, I'm not too sure where the problem probably lies.
Yeah. And because in terms of protein powder, like whey, in terms of protein powder, whey is always number one, and
always.
So, like,
well, for now.
Yeah, Kenny, with your point there, so, like, the plant protein industry, like, it's growing, but still, compared to whey, it's kind of underneath, and people are still not as familiar, and they're transitioning, but they don't know where to navigate. But I feel like hemp, like, back, when in 2020 compared to where we are now, like, it's people understand it a little better, but it's gotten quite a bit better, but it's so we might actually end up changing it to hemp protein powder, but it's still.
I mean, I bought this stuff 20 years ago. I mean, I bought this. Mike might have actually come in and sold it to me when I was at London Drugs. I mean, I'm going back like probably 20 years. And even to Phil's sort of point, like, even over 20 years, I mean, they did well on the sale. And yes, once the states opened up more than anything, the Canadian law changing was important. But the real one was the states changing the rules on hemp and how they viewed hemp, right? To really push it hard. But it's big, but it's not whey.
Yeah. And, Yeah, and also like this, the CBD was really confusing too, because a lot of brands had like hemp oil, but it really meant CBD oil. So that
Exactly.
same exact product name, but just totally different application. And then we had a lot of like CBD and licensed cannabis producers approach us to have our byproducts on like the leaves that we grow, and that's like a whole other like job, is just to say no to people asking for like scraps to extract the cannabinoids out of them. So
Exactly.
Oh wow, I hadn't even. You're right. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, and then so we launched. I mean, we launched with those products, and then we were just doing like direct. We didn't have a distributor. We were just pounding the pavement doing direct sales, and we hired a head of sales. This would have been 2022, 2021, the end of 2021, and he is Damien, and he's been very helpful. And he said, like, you got to have a distributor. Like, you can't be doing, you might as well just pay the price and don't worry about doing the shipping and the fulfillment and then all the
AR.
Yeah, exactly. Chasing after payments. So
it's a pain in the ass.
We signed on with the distributor, and they also helped us get in with more stores, and we got listed in, I think it was like 500 stores, like in a month we got, just by signing with the distributor. And we ended up having different size packaging for different retailers, and we launched a new product that was a different flavor protein powder, a green apple flavor. And
green
apple.
Yeah, I'm all over your web. I'm on your webpage trying to figure this out. So let me ask you, so like, where? Because I went to the where to buy. I just straight curiosity, and there's nothing. So where are you? Like you're in 500 stores. Are we talking Maritimes, Quebec, Ontario, across Canada, states? What's going on here?
Right. So it would be all across Canada. So a lot of Ontario stores, a lot of stores in BC. These are like, independents, and also like we're in Sobeys, Atlantic Canada.
Right.
Like stores like Nutters, Nature's Emporium.
Yeah. Okay. Who distributes for you?
Purity Life's our distributor.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so we're in those types of stores, and then also like POW and Quebec.
Yeah.
We recently got in there, and we're getting a better online presence. That's our focus these days. Is we recently got on well.ca, and we're just getting our listings together for Amazon, so we'll be available on Amazon soon. It's a lot. I mean, a lot of work just to get into another retailer, but it's all worth it. Like that's what I realize. It's just each account is like, it takes so much attention and so much.
It's a lot of work, man. Retail's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
It's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
But so I mean, both of us are in this game, and we love the retail business, even though we complain about it a lot.
All the time.
Like all the time, right? But I do think there's something there, because one, when you do B2B, the business it's way more transactional, and it's kind of awesome because you make some really good dollars on good tonnage and things like that. But there is something about consumers picking up,
connecting with the consumer and watch and pick up your product is like that's a
watching
great
somebody
feeling.
buy it in a store is kind of surreal a little bit. So yeah,
there's something about, like, I mean, at the end of the day, that's where the end, like, money exchanges at the consumer level. And there is something about, like you said, Phil, when you see the product in real life, and when you walk into the store, see on the shelf, and feel that pride, like that is priceless. And at the end of the day, that's why I do it. Is I used to use, and I still do, I like my product, and just wanted other people to have the same experience. So when you see that in the real world, it's definitely rewarding versus like a business to business sale. You might sell like a ton of the stuff, but it's just a single transaction.
Yeah,
God knows
right.
where it goes. But yeah, both have pros and cons for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, like it's hard to make money, and no matter what avenue you go through, there will be obstacles and troubles. It's just retail. It's one of those things. If you don't keep the finger on the pulse, if you don't, step on the gas, then like you will die. Like you've got to like always be on.
You do. And I don't think people really understand that. Yeah, getting it on the shelf is complicated, but it's the easiest part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
getting it off the shelves and repeating that's the game you're looking for. Getting it on the shelf. Yeah. I mean, you pay a listing fee, you give a free fill, may take 6 months, but you can do it. Getting it off the shelf into someone's home and making them repeat. That's the trick.
Yeah. And then especially like, I mean, we're not like really a startup, but we're still, we're still like lean and don't have a lot of capital. Like,
you don't need it, man. You just need deals. You get other people to fund you. You're all good to go.
No, you got that. You got that partner. He seems.
Just like get Platinum Tongue to go do his thing.
Yeah.
We need more. Just go get.
Go
get more. Go.
Yeah. And you guys are, seriously, you may as well get your suppliers to give you 200-day terms. I mean, why not?
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is it's like to add on the whole like trouble with being in retail, like also competing with these large multinationals.
100%.
A lot that comes with it. But,
yeah, and the deep pockets they have versus what your pockets are.
Yeah, but yeah,
you got a good story.
Yeah, and then like a big focus, I'm all like innovation. Like I'm all about innovation. So, we're still growing on top of what like there's more to come and more that has happened like outside of Earthli. Like we have like new technology, new IP that we're looking to deliver through Earthli to have more products.
Cool.
And we're so like that. Yeah, like that's called infused nutrition. You probably have like searched it up and everything, but that's a lot. That's a big focus of mine because yeah, like I guess you would call me a serial entrepreneur. Like I love building stuff. So
good, man.
Infused.
I think entrepreneur should be synonymous with serial because I think not to undercut because I think everybody's creativity expresses itself different, but I think by definition, like entrepreneurs are builders. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think that vision that you have where you're kind of like, okay, we got this. We're starting to like, this is starting to settle into something that I could be. And for your brain to go, okay, this new thing, this is going to be really cool. Like, I think that's secret sauce stuff, right? So
I agree.
I think that's, yeah.
I agree.
And I do remind myself like a lot of the times is like I do have these businesses that do need to be operated, like they do need to be optimized and that type of thing. But I am a good operator, but but building it is a lot funner than just being in it and working day.
Totally get it, and it's not what operators make good operators may not necessarily make great visionaries. And great visionaries typically definitively don't make great operators. So having, you do your skill set, you do what you do. And that's like Phil said, that's sort of the secret sauces and the magic happens.
Yeah.
Right. And I do think it's a cool story, man. It's just another cool Canadian story.
Yeah. And
an Eastern Canadian story, even better.
Yeah, exactly. And like part of like my time right now, I want to do what I love best, which is more like on the innovation side and creating new solutions and new processes, new products. So I just want to hire the right people to kind of fill the holes, and that way I can have my fun and do what I do best and let people do what they do best. So I that's a struggle. It's always a struggle to find the right people, but that's kind of the stage I am at in my life.
I think finding the right people and then people that you can trust to let go things too, right? Because you do, like, as an entrepreneur and an owner, you do get to a place where you go, I have to have enough discipline to run the business right, but then I gotta have enough trust that I hired the right person, that they're not gonna do it the way I did it, right? But they're gonna,
right.
There's a little bit of like trust and verify, and then
and just accepting that they don't do it your way, and they still get it done. Well, at the end of the day, like I kind of got into business because I wanted to retire early and be on a beach down south somewhere with coconut oil on my stomach.
You won't do it, man. You'll just do something with the coconut oil.
Yeah,
you'll find something else to do.
I have that vision in my head, but I'll never. I think I'm always going to be doing something.
No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, your mind will
maybe
always
you can build a beachfront retail store, or
yeah. You'll be doing. You won't. Your mind will. It's a different mindset. It doesn't. There's no light on, light off. The light's always on.
Yeah. And
always on.
It's good that way. Yeah, it's good that way.
Hey Phil, when we're there when are we going? November? No.
Yeah, November for
are we
Atlantic?
Are we just staying? Are we just staying in PEI? Or are we going into?
We're in PEI, but we haven't decided the rest of it yet.
Because I'd love to go see this.
It'd be cool to drop in and say hello and maybe film a little.
Drop in.
Yeah.
Coming for the what's
right over the bridge, pretty much. So yeah.
What's the November thing we're doing? What's
No, we're going to be at the Atlantic Food and Bev award ceremony. So yeah. So we'll be there. I can't remember. It's in November, but we'll shoot you a note and we'll see if we can.
Maybe we'll see
line it up.
You're going to that too.
By and say hello and maybe do some filming from wherever you are. So we can kind of keep the exposure going for you. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Definitely would like to continue the conversation down the road. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Mm-hmm. So before we go, do if people want to find you, what's the best way to find you?
Yeah, you can check us out on Instagram or Facebook. Also, our website, you can order directly, earthli.ca. And keep an eye out for Amazon as well. We'll be on there, and other online retailers and local retailers probably close by.
So we'll drop the links in the podcast, but Earthli is EARTHLI. So Earthli.
That's right. Yeah, EARTHLI.
Don't worry, man. We got you. We got it. It's all good. David, thank you for doing this. It's been amazing.
Yeah, this was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
We hope you keep creating. When you're ready to launch new stuff, or you've just launched it, ping us back and we'll grab you. We have a YouTube channel where we do some announcements. It's kind of an open place for brands to be able to talk about things that they're doing new. So if you get to that point, you're either launching in a new retailer or you got a new product coming out, shoot us a note. It's like a 15-minute chat, just like this. We throw it up on YouTube, and then that helps people kind of know what you are doing, kind of in your world that we can kind of help you announce as well. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And if you're looking for any help out in the West in distribution or things like that, we know lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big market.
Yeah.
So if you're looking, the West, especially BC, Alberta,
for hemp, specifically. Yeah.
So if you're looking for help out here, just definitively don't be scared to ping me or him, either of us. Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. We hope you have a wonderful long weekend.
Yeah. Thank you guys as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Seriously, really nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
Meet you guys too.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, David.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Again, how many times we talk to people and there's non-linear and then there's really non-linear, and they seem to have this ability in their heads to make it linear.
Yeah.
Who gets POs from people
I
and uses those to literally go finance
super cash, right?
do the
And he's
deal.
super cash too. Like it wasn't
Like
like
they
it
seem
wasn't-
normal. Like
it
that's
wasn't-
what isn't how
it
everybody
wasn't no
does it.
thing. Yeah, it wasn't no thing. Yeah, it was
Awesome.
It's very surprising. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.